Please turn off all cell phones. Pompton Lakes Zoning Board of Adjustments, June 27th, 2023. The following is the agenda for the regular meeting of the Pompton Lakes Zoning Board of Adjustments. The meeting is to be held in the Municipal Building, 25 Lennox Avenue, on Tuesday, June 27, 2023, beginning at 8:00 p.m. A written advance notice as required by NJSA 10.04-1 etc. has been provided of this meeting at least 48 hours in advance of today, given the time, date, and location, and to the extent known at the time, the agenda of this meeting. Such notice stated that formal action may or may not be taken. This meeting will be video recorded and will be broadcasted later for viewing for the public. The notice was posted on the bulletin board outside of the offices of the municipal clerk, reserved for this and similar announcements, provided to the Suburban Trends, the newspaper designated by the council and planning board to receive such notices, and filed with the borough clerk. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no one for oath of office, so can I please get a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Hunt?
Here.
Mr. Abate?
Here.
Ms. Curran?
Here.
Mr. Koss,
Here.
Ms. Bernstock?
Yes, here.
Mr. Rowan?
Here.
Mr. Begg is excused. Mr. Nook is absent. Mr. Luciani is excused. Mr. Fagola?
Here.
And Councilman DeLine?
Okay, the regular minutes for May 23rd, 2023, has everyone had the opportunity to read, or any corrections to the minutes?
Slight correction. My name was spelled wrong in one of the paragraphs.
Where's that?
It was at the end.
No, it's in the middle.
I see it.
I just didn't want people to think that there was two of us with different names.
Was that correction, or are there any other changes to the minutes? If none, can I please get a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Okay, Mr. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Abate?
Yes.
Ms. Curran?
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Ms. Bernstock?
Yes.
Mr. Rowan?
Yes,
And Mr. Fagula?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Applications, BOA 23-03, Jess Savastano, 223 Willow Avenue, Pompton Lakes. Please come forward. And if anyone else is going to be with you giving testimony, please have that office as well.
Please both just remain standing and raise your right hand. Please state your name, spell your last.
Jeff Savastano, S-A-V-A-S-T-A-N-O.
Jennifer Savastano, S-A-V-A-S-T-A-N-O.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give this evening before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Proceed.
Welcome. Okay, so you are making an application for a variance request. What I'd like to do is open the floor up to you to tell us about your project and the variance that you're looking to get from the board. So let us know.
We're looking to put a garage in what I would call our backyard, but we are here because our backyard is considered a front yard by the town to the street behind us. And in doing so, we We have a shed back there that we would like to move to the other side of the property, and put the garage where the shed is.
Okay, so, I met your wife this afternoon. I did do a walkthrough of your property, so I do have some questions for you.
Sure.
So, you are also relocating your generator back there, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That's part of your plans, that's fine. There is a question I do have on your, plans, on the existing macadam and where your, I guess that little breezeway and the entrance to downstairs is. That's only 9.7 feet. It requires a 10-foot setback, side yard setback. You may want to consider to request that to be included in this variance request.
Okay.
So.
How do we request that, and just ask right now?
So essentially, you would like to amend your application to include a variance to have the breezeway 9.7 feet from the right property line, correct?
Yes, please.
It's so amended.
Thank you.
So many. All right, and that's you going forward. Okay, this way. Okay, so on your plans, the dotted line that's on the back, that's on Maple Avenue, the dotted line, is that the property line or is that the fence line?
Both.
It is both.
Fence is
Okay.
right on the property line.
Okay, so the proposed macadam driveway going out onto Maple Avenue, that is borough property. We cannot approve that. Okay, that's something that, you're gonna have to take up with the municipality.
Well,
You can only go. to the
how,
property
take
line.
up with the municipality, who is the, like, who do you take that up with?
Probably the business administrator to start, but just the real simple thing is, this board can only grant you approval for something on your property. If that, so I think it's a weird thing, which we know Willow is Maple there, I mean Dawes Highway is Maple there.
Maple and Doyle.
That maybe the property line is before the curb, which you know is the curb. That space between the property line and the curb isn't yours, so this board doesn't have any authority to approve something on somebody else's property unless they consent it. The municipality can. I don't know that anybody along that side of Dawes Highway has access. They might, don't know. Again, but that's not my decision to make. I'm just, what you brought up is that your plan includes construction of things that aren't on your property. And they can't give that approval. And give the approval for it. So this is just general, their jurisdiction, their ability to give it is what's on the property.
So that you have to do,
Generally, you would need, I would assume, the business administrator would be the place to start.
okay,
But you're gonna need a curb cut, you're gonna need them to say yes.
okay.
It's a right-of-way specifically that has to be granted, if I'm not mistaken, because it is a right-of-way as it is. The road on paper is not what you see. It's on paper, it's 50 feet wide.
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
The road, Maple Ave, is
Right.
actually wider on paper. It's actually, the right-of-way is larger than what you're seeing physically. It's very common.
Okay.
So you need a right-of-way to access across that right-of-way.
From the town.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And the business administrator here?
In our town.
It'd be a place to start. Again, I'm not saying that, but that's,
Those are
business
your
administrators,
right.
they do things on the day-to-day basis of the town. That's the person who does that.
Okay, I can get you that information.
Thank you.
And the question I have too is the relocation of the generator. Where is that going to go?
So, I would say outside my kitchen, but you don't know what that is.
So you're gonna, okay, so you're gonna come up the
Where
driveway.
you saw those steps,
Yes.
right behind there,
So
the
you
garbage
put it
cans are there now.
Okay. Okay, I missed that before, I'm sorry. And if that's the case, that's gonna be within the 10-foot, so you're not gonna have a problem there. Okay. And where you proposed is 10 foot off the property line one way, and 10 foot off the property line for the new shed that you're gonna relocate. Okay, so that's not a problem. That's the things that I observed when I was there. So what I would like to do now is open it up to the rest of the board, to bring up any questions or concerns on the application.
Jeff, I have a quick question. Are you planning on having the driveway still all the way back to the back?
From the other front,
The what?
from the current front?
Yeah, from
Where-
Willow
where the
Ave,
existing-
all the way
So
back.
on the plans there's plans to extend the patio over, so it would be the driveway with the patio.
Right now you have some sort of, one or something to
Well,
put your trailer in there and like that for your boat, so.
Get
The
carport.
garage is there, that's gone.
that's gonna be fine.
So you went back there and then you have like that one, that carport, so that puts, it has this trailer back.
Right.
Anybody else have any questions for the applicant?
No, you covered them all.
Mike, you good? That's good? Okay. So at this point, what we would do is open it up to the public to comment on the applicant and the testimony and conversations that we've had. Since I see, I'll open it up and we'll close it since there's no one here from Chagall. So I will close that session. So we would
I
have
think your
to.
daughter wants to speak.
Based on the issue that's out there, you do a few things, just grant as applied. Grant it with the condition that nothing can be constructed unless and until approval is obtained for that access out onto Dawes Highway. If you want, then it's conditioned upon that,
Mhm.
or you can just deny it, your choices. There's probably some other choices there too, but you could grant it with the condition, no construction permit until, there's another condition that they get, that the board receives written approval from the borough of Pompton Lakes allowing access onto Dawes Highway. That would be a way to deal with it, so you've given what you need, what they need from you.
I do have another question now. Your back fence is 6 foot tall. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know the fire department has questioned line of sight and visibility of coming out that driveway that way. Is there any plans to adjust the height of the fence so that it would improve the line of sight? And what's your plans back there? Are you going to,
Well, from the fire, was this title fire marshal,
he's the acting fire chief.
fire chief, his complaint was about the fence and the tree. I
Right.
spoke to the neighbor about the tree, he was okay with cutting down the branch that was blocking it. As
Okay.
far as the fence, I didn't have a plan to,
So let me address the tree. The tree, and if I'm not steering it correctly, that is part of the Shady Tree Commission, and understanding trees and trimming them, you would have to make an application to trim that tree. You can't just arbitrarily do that. If there is, then and again, that could be corrected, but I've known people in the past to do that and been fined. So I caution you, and I would investigate.
well, if you look at that tree as it stands now,
It's pretty big.
either way, something should be done, even if this is not,
Well, that's something that, again, you would need to make an application to the Shady Tree Commission to address that. I understand it's very bushy and it is very leaning into the street.
Right.
I noticed that. So for aesthetic purposes and also for safety, I would suggest that an application be made to the Shady Tree. I can't tell you to do that.
well, it's
but I
not,
just-
that tree's not on my side.
I understand, but you can have a conversation with the Shady Tree Commission as to what to do in making an application, or somebody needs to address the trimming of the tree, per se. But that's something that you would have to reach out. But that would be my caution to you about trimming the tree. Or then trimming the tree.
One question I was gonna ask, do you currently maintain the grass that's there? You do?
And then do you have like a pine tree in your corner, or is that on your neighbor?
There's a pine.
I can see like there's two trees. There's the one
There,
that's growing crazy and lifting up the fence of your neighbor, and then it seems like there's a pine tree. Is that on your property?
On your generator.
Yes.
I don't know if it's technically a pine tree, it might be an overgrown shrub. But
But there is something
There is-
growing there.
There is a
There's
living
pine cones on there, so. I'm
Yeah.
guessing-
plant there.
The people we bought that house from were the Burkeeds, I don't know if you know them, but they were in the tree and shrub business, so there's all sorts of mixed breeds in there.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you ask the surveyor to put the trees for you so that you can get clarity of whose is where, you know.
One other option, I don't know your hurry on doing things, is to carry it one month, see if they can contact the municipality.
That's what was gonna be my suggestion, if we would carry this application, so that it gives you time to go to the borough administrator and find out what the next steps are for you, to gain access to that. And then this way, we just carry it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for access to it for a driveway cutout.
Also, you know, the hatched line in your survey, if you pull it out and look at it, the hatched line ends significantly, so probably several feet, you know, at the fence before the concrete curb. So the surveyor is indicating you do not own the property or have the right to do things. I mean, typically do them. We don't have the right to go put something on that property without the permission of that owner, which we believe to be the borough. So in order for that garage to have any usefulness to you, I assume you're going to want to access Dawes Highway. So in order to do that, you have to have permission from that property owner to put that curb cut and that macadam in. That's what we're saying, it's a useless garage unless you have that permit. So either it can be, you get approved, subject to doing it and showing the board proof, or carry it a month and see if you can contact and.
I was just trying to ask the question so I didn't look like an idiot when I'm talking to the borough administrator.
Bring in that survey, absolutely, bring in the survey and show that space where the curb cut is, meeting the space in between your fence and the property, and say, how do we get permission?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that might be your best.
Just out of curiosity, how do you get permission? You built the house for a driveway.
Typically, your house, your property line is up to, street where you're allowed to. This appears to be a gap, I think it's something,
Like a 5-foot gap. I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's almost 5.
your property, the way you're surveying, and we're reading this because of the way the survey is listed, is that your property line ends before that curb. So that space, you're gonna need permission, no matter what.
I'm just confused because when I look at the front, it looks like there's the dotted line there, and it's the same situation.
But your driveway, right, but your driveway is going right to the end of your dotted line, and that's the street.
That blue line, that solid line below, it's not the street?
I mean, that's,
Public wants to speak.
Hold on.
Public is helping.
Survey screen on the laptop. You can see it
You
better.
could,
Yeah.
you can reopen.
Okay.
You have
I
unlimited
mean,
time.
it's very
Oh, it doesn't fit, I'm sorry.
common.
Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to reopen the public session, so that'll allow Councilman to speak on, Brian to speak on this application. So I'll reopen it.
All right, thank you. Eric Deline, 233 Summit Avenue, just opining on property lines. Actually, if you notice, the property line only goes up to just before the sidewalk, because the sidewalk to the street, including the driveway apron, is part of the public right-of-way. So this probably isn't so much different, except it's on the back side. There is some access between the property line and the public realm that's necessary to access the street. In a typical brand-new application, it might be part of the site plan application, in which case here, after a site plan application, you're doing a different approach, basically. So, but very rarely, at least in my experience, have I seen property lines that go directly to the curb of the street. There's always some gap in one way or the other. This just happens to be a different type of gap.
Right, but this is, again, I think it would be in your best interest. So I'm going to, anybody else in the public like to speak? No, I will close the public session. It would be my suggestion to carry, and this way it saves you a bunch of time and effort. and go to the administrator, find out what it is that you need to do. And if things are presented to the board, so that we can then move forward with the application and to, go from there. That would be my suggestion. Do you agree? Yeah. Sorry.
The applicant agrees.
Yeah, right, you would have to
Yep.
agree to that. Yes. Okay, so let it be said that we are going to carry this application until next month, giving the applicant time to go to the borough administrator and try and understand what would be required to gain access to that area.
We also-
Out onto Maple Avenue.
We also want them to go to the Shade Commission, right?
Well,
That's all borough town.
it's borough property, and the tree is really not on his property, it's a couple houses up. So that's something that, you would maybe want to consider talking to the borough administrator, get the Shady Tree Commission's, information, and see what you can do to alleviate that concern from the fire department. So,
That's not contingent.
Well,
everything is basically carrying over.
the entire application is carrying over, but I think what they're saying is, the fire department official has said, you got concerns about access. In general terms, it would behoove you to come back in a month and say, I talked to the Shade Commission and X. This is what we can and can't do. Just, it will address what the concern is, and I'm not giving you legal advice, but just, they've expressed a concern, Shade Tree Commission is probably where you start to address and fix that concern, and just reporting back that you've had some initial contact with the Shade Tree Commission, I assume would be beneficial.
Right. And then that part of your, comeback, you would explain to us what you did, and then we go from there.
When is this next meeting?
So it was the fourth Thursday?
Or Thursday?
It's July 25th. It's a
Or
Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday.
Tuesday.
July 25th. I don't have my phone.
One second.
I'm assuming it's July 25th.
Can I just go back to the fence for a minute?
Yes, because we're not done yet.
Right,
You're giving testimony, yeah.
okay. Are you requiring that we change it to a 5-foot fence, or is it,
It's been brought up that there is concern regarding line of sight, and that's something that you may want to consider when you come back. Totally up to you. We can't advise, we can only communicate what one of the concerns were from the fire department. And also what we have experienced in the past, line of sight is critical, especially when you're dealing with coming onto that highway, that roadway, it might be best to consider.
And I would measure the distance on the house and the line of sight of the one that has a similar garage, just 3 doors from you, just for testimony.
It's the same, I measured it.
Just take a look at the line of sight, see if there's any differences between.
I have pictures here if you want to see it. They have a tree in their way also.
It's all right, I'm just saying, just.
with a 6-foot
But we're
fence, it looks like-
addressing your application.
I understand, that's why I'm just.
I'm just. All we can do is address the ones that are in front of us.
The retaining wall is partially on your property and then partially on town property. So there's an issue as to who is addressing what for any issues with your retaining wall. How high is that retaining wall?
So I was told that it was about 2 feet.
How high?
About 2 feet.
2 feet.
I would think they should show that on your plans as well. Is that shown anywhere? And maybe I missed it?
I thought it was.
The retaining wall is going to go from,
From here to here, right, from here all the way to here, because this is a slope up, and so to get, so you don't have just a drop.
right. Yeah, that might be something you want to.
and everything's draining that way towards the street.
Right.
Well, it had pitched, everything was
Yeah,
set to be
yeah,
pitched to be drained towards the street.
Is that showing anywhere though? It just, I mean, I know it's going up, so I don't think you can drain it
It's
any other
showing it
way.
where, I know the architect made a big deal about it. I can see it on there, but I'm not always familiar.
Pitch it away, pitch it away.
And are you having any roof runoff, going onto that driveway as well? Or where's the roof runoff on your garage? Is that showing anywhere?
Well, from the street, view would be running off to the sides.
And then onto your property or onto that driveway to the street?
Onto the property.
Driveway to the street.
You're running to the left and right.
Yeah.
Is that shown anywhere on your plans or?
You can see the gutters on the side.
Right, the downspouts is what's being asked about.
Downspouts are not shown on the picture.
No,
I would recommend that you get that information as well, just so that we're clear on that.
Fair enough.
for how many animals here.
So when, you get the downspouts on there, does that just mean a whole new set of plans is needed for everyone?
I think it could be just communicated with the downspout. So what we're concerned about is the downspouts coming off the property, of the garage, onto the cabin. Right, so does it have to do no plans, or is that something that could just be communicated?
I think Sal's gonna have to look at it. You know, what's in the structure will.
But we make that a part of the,
I think you can make it part of the condition that
Condition.
it gets addressed by
it's
him.
addressed, yes. It could be a condition, that we can give to Sal, so that if we approve, there'll be a condition that we can explain to Sal how that level is going to be. So it's a new set of plans. I don't believe, it will be necessary. That's something that will,
The construction official, when they issue permits, this board kind of says where you can put things. The construction official makes sure that things that get built get done in accordance with accepted standards. So and one of them is making sure that you don't build a whole lot of stuff and send a lot of water onto your neighbors, or to go flood the street or something else. So what they're doing is just saying, when you put up that new garage, there's a whole lot of, that water's gotta go someplace. Just to make sure that it goes in the correct place, and just the condition that the building official is gonna have to approve how you treat that, what you do with that water coming off your.
So that is not needed for me at the next meeting in July.
Excuse me?
That's not needed an answer for me of how that's gonna be treated in July.
I don't believe so, no. No, because that would be a condition. This board typically doesn't do that. That's.
I figured, I just wanna make sure I'm prepared when I come back.
Right.
And what is usually the recommendation? That it goes onto the property or that it goes onto the street?
There's a general rule, no, there's a general rule, you can't, when you do construction, this is a general rule, it's not advice. You can't send any more water off the property than prior to construction. So you usually have to, so if you are now putting a whole lot of impervious coverage, putting it into sewer, if that's what you have access to, or a dry well, or something else. Again, not giving you advice, but basically you have to demonstrate that you meet the general rule. You're not sending more off of your property than before construction. That's, how that gets done is probably a variety of different ways.
okay, so we are going to motion to carry this for the next meeting.
Sure thing.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You need this like this?
I'm gonna back up a little bit. I skipped over correspondence. We had it from Oakland and, an ordinance from, Township of Quantic. Apparently there's a few more that came out. Anybody have any questions about them?
Fundraiser?
Actually, I did.
Okay.
We have a situation in New Jersey where our property taxes are killing seniors. I know they're trying to address it, but I saw something in Oakland where I understand about Airbnb causing a lot of issues. And a lot of towns are putting in a 30-day minimum on rentals. But here it says, however, rental of a room or portion of the premises is not permitted. A lot of seniors are renting a room to make ends meet. And I think this ordinance is gonna hurt seniors. A friend of mine's son went to Brookdale Community College and for 2 years lived with a little old lady Monday through Thursday. And it worked out for everyone. She had this 20-year-old guy helping her with the house during the week, and she got some extra money, and I'm sure there's people in our town that rent out a room. And I just think this is unfair to seniors. I'm all for the 30-day, to keep Airbnb out, because I can tell you, even in some pretty swank towns, they're renting to anybody they can find. It's causing a lot of problems. But I think this rental of a room is gonna hurt seniors.
Well, if we ever, I mean, this is the Borough of Oakland's ordinance, not ours.
Hold on.
No, I know that, but
Hold on, I gotta open up the public for this, right? So I will open up for public comment regarding comments from the public on an ordinance from Oakland.
Sure.
It's okay.
I understand your perspective, Dave, and as the ordinance chair for the council, if it ever gets discussed that we would be under consideration of a similar short-term rental prohibition, I would definitely consider that issue as part of that, so thank you.
Awesome. Anybody else? Anything else? Okay, so we're gonna move on. We have resolutions. BOA 23-01, Brian Zimmerman. Has everyone had the opportunity to read the resolution? Are there any corrections to this resolution? If not, can I please have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept?
second.
Can I get a roll
What
call,
was
please?
that?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Motion to accept? Was
Second.
Kerwin?
Seconded.
I
He
motion, she second.
Second. Thank you. I was writing,
It's okay. Roll call?
yes. Okay, Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Mr. Abate,
Yes.
Ms. Curran? Yes. Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Ms. Bernstock?
Yes.
Mr. Rowan?
Yes.
And Mr. Fagula?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution BOA 23-02, Colwell, 64 Perrin Avenue, Pompton Lakes. Has everyone had an opportunity to read this resolution?
Yes.
Are there any corrections? Since there are here none, can I get a motion to accept this resolution?
Second.
Second.
That was Mr. Fagula?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Mr. Abate,
Yes.
Ms. Curran,
Yes.
Mr. Koss,
Yes.
Ms. Bernstock,
Yes.
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
and Mr. Fagula?
Yes.
New unfinished business. Don't have any that I'm aware of. I will now open the meeting to public discussion. Anyone?
It's your turn.
Is there anything you'd like to add on what's going on in town?
I'm totally good. Yeah, you guys are doing a great job, but, so that's it.
Thank you so much. I will close the public session. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All in favor? Hey, none. Thank you.
So we should keep this stuff, because they're coming back next month.
That is correct.
All right.
We got 2 tables, huh?